Recently, I have seen this animation from one of the Google advertisements. I felt it very fancy, so I thought, why not, let's give it a try. And I ended up creating something like this. So if you want to learn how to create this animation, stick around till the very end. Here I have already created a 16:9 ratio composition. Let's begin by adding a text. Align it to the center. Now let's import one of the logos into the composition and scale it down a bit and hide both these layers for now. Now with no layer selected, grab the pen tool and draw a path exactly from the center of the composition, like so. Now disable the fill and let's give it a stroke width of about 3 pixels. Make sure to align it horizontally to the center. Now let's add a repeater property for the shape layer. And here let's give it a position x value of 0. And for the rotation, let's divide the value 360 by 12. So we will get 30 degrees. And here for the copies, I would like to have 12 copies. So I will type 12 here. Now let's enable 3D for all the layers. And also let's enable the view of the logo. Minimize its scale a bit. Now let's create a camera layer. And also let's have a null layer as well. Enable 3D for the null layer. Now with the orbit around cursor tool selected, let's adjust its position like so. Now we need to parent the logo to the null layer. Okay, let's increase this line size a bit. Now position the logo at the bottom at its respective line shape like so. Now make a copy of this logo layer by pressing Ctrl D and don't forget to remove the parent for the previous logo layer. Now open the null rotation property by pressing R and let's give it a null Y rotation of 30 degrees. Now make a copy of this layer and remove the parent for the previous layer and let's add one more 30 degrees to the null Y rotation. We need to repeat this process until we have 12 logos. Yeah, we are done with this part. Now select all the logo layers and the text layer as well and then parent all of them to the null layer. First of all, let's adjust the X rotation of the null like so. Now if we play with the Y rotation, we can get something like this. That's exactly what we want. So let's set the Y rotation to 0 degrees for now. I forgot to enable the view of the text layer. Let's adjust the Y rotation to -30 degrees so that the text properly faces the camera. But here the logos are not facing the camera while rotating. So to make them face the camera, select all the logo layers and right click on them and go to transform and click on auto orient. And here we need to enable orient towards camera and then click on OK. But here some of the logos are still not facing the camera. I don't know why is that happening. Okay, whatever. Let's do it manually. Select that logo which orientation needs to be corrected. Now open its rotation properties and set the orientation Y value to 0. Do the same with the layers whose orientation needs to be corrected. Here still some of the logos are not facing the camera. Do the same process which we had done earlier. Okay, let's do one thing. I think here many layers orientations need to be corrected. So let's select all the logos and open the rotation properties by pressing R and now make sure every layer orientation Y value is set to 0. Now if we rotate the null Y rotation, each and every layer is facing the camera. Okay, that's perfect. Now let's set the Y rotation to -30 degrees and adjust its X rotation according to your needs. I think we need to parent the text to the camera layer to make it stagnant at the center. Now the text doesn't get affected when we animate the null Y rotation. Increase the logo size a bit. Now we need to replace these Gmail logos with other Google application logos. This is the center logo, right? So select all the layers above it and position them at the bottom. Now all the logos are in a sequential order. Now select the second logo layer. Let the first logo be Gmail and select another logo from the project panel. Now we need to hold the Alt key and drag the logo onto this layer to replace it. You can adjust the size of the logo according to your needs. Now select the third logo layer and select another logo from the project panel. Hold the Alt key and drag the logo onto the selected layer to replace the image. We need to just repeat the same process for the rest of the layers. Yeah, we are done with replacing the logos. Now it's time to animate the null by rotation. Add a keyframe on null by rotation on the very first frame and then come to the very end of the composition and let's give it a complete 1 cycle rotation. Now we got something like this. Let's add a bit of X rotation as well. So we get something like this. Now let's create a new null layer and enable 3D for it as well and pair it null1 to null2. Now come to the second X rotation keyframe. And by being on that frame, let's add a keyframe on the position property for the null2 layer. Now come to the very first frame and with the help of y-axis, position the logo slightly above like so. Now select all the keyframes and press F9 to ease the motion. Now it's much better and smoother than before. Scale up them a bit. Now let's offset these logos one by one after every 5 frames just like so that they gradually pop it one by one. I think we need to offset the first logo as well. Select all the layers and offset them 5 frames forward just like so. Here I would like to adjust the X rotation a bit. Now you can hide this line shape layer. Yeah, here we go. This is the final preview. I hope you found this tutorial helpful and thank you so much for watching.